Baby, can you stand the rain? Storms will come. This I know for sure, baby. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Who sings that song, Fraser?
I don't know. That's beautiful, though. You sound
Jesus.
just like whoever it is.
You ever notice that, like, I mean, obviously we are closer because probably hip hop bonds us, but you grew up from a different background than I do, being
Yeah, quite a
Native
bit.
American and white and Canadian, and me being African American black from America.
Yeah.
And like our parents and possibly grandparents never listened to any music in common at all. Maybe Michael Jackson, Prince, but like there's you should know that song.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't even know what my grandparents would listen to. I don't
You
even
don't
know
know
if
what
they
your grandparents
listened
listen
to
to?
music. No, I know on my one side, they listen to country music a lot. But my other
Uh,
side, the main side that raised me initially, I don't know if they ever listened to music, which is very odd to think about.
you don't have to say the person's name, but is there someone in your family you perceive to be racist?
I feel like, and then I think about this once in a while. I feel like in Canada, you didn't know you're racist because we didn't really have
Other races, right?
yeah, and I mean, like, I guess probably racist towards Asians. There's Asians, but like back then, it wasn't racist. Where now, like, if someone in my family might have said back like 30 years ago, you'd be like, oh my god. But like,
Yeah,
it was more ignorance than like meaning it to hurt someone. If that
yeah.
makes sense.
You didn't really know what they were saying at the time. You were like, oh,
Exactly. It was more just like a child saying the F word. It was like you just said it, but you didn't know like anything. You know.
you just thought that was a cool tattoo, not a swastika.
Exactly. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Ah, yeah, hey, how you doing? To talk sports, huh?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Let's get into it. Jared Campbell, comedian, sports broadcaster, played at the University of Miami, dressed for the Arizona Cardinals. And I got a quick question for you.
I
I was
played for the
thinking,
Arizona Cardinals, man. Preseason counts, man. I got a sack and everything, man. Don't put
that's
some
what I'm
respect on
saying,
it.
bro.
Nah, you
Yeah.
said dressed as if I was like
Oh.
a team manager, man. Nah. Man, and I bet so much money on NFL. I feel like I deserve an honorary. Like I'm a Hall of Fame bettor. I think I'm in the Hall of Fame of gambling.
I like that. I like that. At Miami, twofold question. Who was the best player you played with? And then who was the player that was like the best that never was? Who you're like, damn, that guy's so good. And whether it was injuries or since you went to Miami, probably a rest is more likely. I mean, what really, who was it?
Uh, all right. The best player as far as like stats will go, you probably say Jimmy Graham did the best out of my class. Like Jimmy Graham went to the NFL and balled out for year after year, and
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't that great in college. I don't want to say that to be mean. He may watch this. He's an amazing NFL player, but in college he was there was a guy tight end above him named Dedrick Epps, and Dedrick Epps was better, faster, better hands, route running. And I don't know why Dedrick Epps never stuck in the league and Jimmy Graham did. I think the placement, because like if DJ Gepser got drafted to Drew Brees, maybe he would have been a person we know on our fantasy team. But it was Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
Graham, and so now Jimmy Graham is a pilot. He's a 6'6" redhead that gets all the women, and he's one of the best tight ends to ever play the game.
Is what percentage do you think placement has to do with your success in the NFL? 5%, 10, 30?
I almost feel like it's underrated. I think that's probably like a
Mm-hmm.
65%. I feel like getting put into the right situation will make your career. Like I ain't gonna say this, but if Jordan Love went to the Carolina Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
people were like, "Yo, he needs to go to CFL. He needs to get out of here." And I feel like if Bryce Young went to the Packers and sat for 2 years, people were like, "This is the greatest quarterback ever." Placement is huge. Calais,
Yeah.
my brother, man, I think one of the best things that ever happened to him is he fell to the second round, which humbled him. So then he came in hungry to the league, and he came into a good team with a strong quarterback. Offense was getting good, so he was out there getting sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he balled out his rookie year. They went to the Super Bowl, and that's because of placement. If he'd have got drafted to the Jaguars with the eighth overall pick, he'd probably be riding jet skis in Mississippi right now, and he'd been done playing 7 years ago.
That's another way to think of it. I wonder how many people per year get drafted that would be good no matter what. So like, there's 7 players in the NFL. Like, okay, no matter where they go, they're going to be legit, and then the rest is like, good luck. You got a 60% chance because if you're not on a good team, you're fucked.
I'm telling you, it's a bigger number. Like you remember this
Yeah.
one of my favorite athletes. You remember Josh Gordon?
Mm-hmm.
Remember he had like that one year where he was like Calvin Johnson. And he just like missed four
Yeah.
games. He had like 1,400 yards receiving. Now, if
Yeah.
you notice anything, the Browns almost never have a good receiver. They never have a good quarterback, and I just think that's because the stadium is right next to the lakes, and the wind is not great, and the culture of the pass game has never been solid in the Browns. Like you
Hmm.
can't name me three receivers that you believe like are in the top 100 of all time receivers from the Browns. If Josh Gordon went to the Minnesota Vikings, your favorite team, he'd be a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, bro. He would be a
Hmm.
because receivers every receiver does well in Minnesota. I don't know why. From Chris Carter to Randy Moss to Justin Jefferson. I feel like even
Hmm.
there was a Nate Burleson or somebody. There was a guy who went to Seattle
Yeah.
Seahawks afterwards and sucked. But they always have like people excel as receivers for the Vikings.
Hmm.
And if Josh Gordon went there, he may have been the GOAT. He may have been the greatest receiver of all time if he went to the Vikings.
One who I wish panned out, and I think he would have panned out now because it was always marijuana related. But what's his name? Went to Oklahoma State and got drafted by the Jaguars.
Justin Blackman, who had like one
Yes,
200 yard,
that
he had one 215-yard game and then never had another game of like over 40.
dude, that dude in college, because I was at Texas Tech at the time, he was fucking unreal. So wish he
Yeah.
would have panned out.
This kind of sucks, right? Because like weed now is not even like frowned upon. It's just I'm like, we're ahead of
Hmm.
your time, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like the NIL money. It's like people took money and then got all their shit taken away. Now
Yeah.
you can.
They really took Reggie Bush's Heisman because his mama got a house in San Diego. And I mean, in all honesty, San Diego is one of the beautiful cities, one of the most expensive real estate. Like, if they got our house in Norman, Oklahoma, nobody would care. But like San Diego's like, hey, man, even rich people can't afford this.
Yeah. There's like one neighbor. He's like, there's a black family that moved in, and I don't know where they got their money from.
You just know they came in with loud music, doing barbecues and shit. Everybody watching USC games outside, somebody fighting, they smoking black and mild. Yeah, he definitely was like, this neighborhood's never seen this before.
Shit. Uh, Back to this year, who are your top 5 NFL quarterbacks for, like, let's say it has to be for the full year, not like right now, playing right now, which, I mean, that comes into play, but who will end up the top 5?
All right. We're gonna go upwards instead of downwards.
Okay.
Sam Darnold's in that list, bro. I told you in the first
So
time we did
crazy.
it. Sam
Mm.
Darnold is in redemption mode. He's not like, oh, I made it. Let me relax. Sam Darnold is literally waking up early, meeting with the receivers, talking to the coaches. He's getting it. And like his
Hmm.
nipples are proving it, man. Sam Darnold's one of the top
Yeah.
quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Yes, he does have 2 first-round receivers, possibly the best receiver in football right now. So yeah, that
Hmm.
helps. And the defense is playing unreal. But Sam Darnold is number 5 right now. And I'm making this a little controversial because I want people to tweet at me like, "What the fuck, you crazy?" All right. Fourth, and you're not gonna like this.
Ooh,
Jaden Daniels. Jaden
I
Daniels
get it.
I mean, all right, so I've read an article, I don't know how true this is, but apparently he has some VR machine that he puts on and it basically lets him stimulate what kind of looks he'll get. So he gets to see him in real life. Because we grew up,
Ooh.
we watched like old school people writing on the like you remember the ones that like the light
Yeah.
flash up and they will write on it. That's what we was
Yeah.
watching him get filmed, and he gets to actually see what people look like when they move in
That's
motion.
wow.
And like that helps him, but they say he's the first person in the gym, the last one to leave, and it's showing. And I'm talking about to put a rookie on
Mm.
top 5 is crazy. And somehow the Commanders always do it. And hopefully he doesn't go RG3 route. He sucks the rest of his career, but he looks good. All right. Number 3, I'm gonna put Pat Mahomes here. All right. Now Pat
Okay.
Mahomes' numbers look terrible. He's the reason why I got kicked out of the Guillotine Football League because he's only putting up 14 points a fantasy game. But wins count, and right now the man is winning. They're undefeated. They may go undefeated the whole year. He finds a way to pull it out every time. So with that being the case, he's number 3. Number 2, as much as I hate it and it doesn't fit good, I got to put Josh Allen. Yeah, Josh Allen is single-handed. He has no receivers. Somehow he's figured it out. Somehow he's running. He's smarter. Josh Allen is looking great. And then the GOAT right now, and you say he's not, I'm going to jump through the screen like the ring and slap
CJ
him.
Stroud.
Fuck no.
Oh, who are you gonna say?
Lamar Jackson, bro.
Oh
Lamar
yeah, my
Jackson
bad.
Lamar Jackson is killing it right now, bro. And I think
Yeah.
people underestimate him. Yes, Derrick Henry looks great. He doesn't even get carries to the fourth quarter when they're trying to like run the clock out.
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson is like on point. He's if getting all the receivers. Zay Flowers looks like a beast. He might be the next Justin Jefferson. And the Ravens are really playing solid football. Like I think Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's probably not going to win his 3rd MVP, but he is the youngest MVP of all time. He has 2 MVPs. There's a strong chance that he could be a 3 to 4 time MVP winner over his career.
Want to know what sucks? Well, first of all, I took him as the MVP. I made 2 MVP votes. One, Trevor Lawrence, just long shots, and then one was Lamar. and Lamar was 18-1. I'm like, what? He just won the MVP. How was he 18-1? Where like Mahomes, Josh Allen, and whoever else was like 6-1. I was like, that's crazy. So I'm here for it. And then, number two, it just sucks that he just keeps on losing in the playoffs. I feel like he's in this area where it's like no one wants to believe in him. Where really he's losing to the best player in our era. Like
he's 20. He's like 27 years old. He's like,
Mhm.
are we serious? John Elway didn't win a Super Bowl team. He was like 38. I mean, like he went to
Michael Jordan, not till he's 27.
If you're mad about him not winning playoff games, playing against arguably one of the toughest teams in the Chiefs, and like they should have won that game last year, obviously the guy fumbled on the goal line. You're crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He still has something to prove, which is great. You always want to be somebody. You don't want him to be like, oh, yeah, I can retire now. I'm the greatest quarterback. And I feel like this sucks is he's in the same area as Pat Mahomes. And I think Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid are a lethal combination. And so, but I think Lamar Jackson's legacy he will win a championship. He will win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, like if he's in the NFC, he could be in 4 Super Bowls right now for all we know, you know?
Interesting stat. This is the craziest thing. He's only lost one game in his entire career to an NFC team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And guess who that NFC team was?
Ooh, the Carolina Panthers.
No, he would never lose. Come on, Lamar Jackson was Carolina Panthers.
That would be a random ass team.
We're not fucking crazy here, right? I mean, it is a random team. The Carolina Panthers will never be Lamar Jackson. You can put that as a fact. No. Daniel Jones and the Lions beat him in 2022 with Calais on the team.
Daniel Jones and the Lions? What?
They came back. I think the running back fumbled at like the 8-yard line, and then Daniel Jones threw a touchdown. They lost by 1 point.
Am I on drugs? Daniel Jones on the Lions? You mean the
Giants?
Giants?
I said Lions. I said Daniel Jones and Giants. You took over my sayings and said the Lions, and I started repeating you. You know I said the Giants. Why would I think Daniel Jones and the
Lions? I'm just trying to mind fuck you.
There we go.
I'm wearing a condom. Don't worry.
Oh my
I hope
God.
you're wearing a condom.
It's rape. Stop looking at me. Stop looking at me.
You got a dirty mind. All right. What was the other question I was going to ask you? Who are your top 5 teams in the league right now? Which I assume probably mimic your quarterback list a little bit.
All right. The Chiefs are the best team in the league and possibly going to win the 3-peat championship. I don't see them losing with their defense, coaching, and quarterback. I just don't think there's a team good enough to beat them. Number 2, if we're going to be honest and keep things a buck, I'm probably going to go with it sucks. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. That's crazy, right? I think the Lions. David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, like golf looks good. That defense is strong. Aiden Hutchinson being out may hurt them, but they're a solid team. Number 3, I am going to go with the Vikings are undefeated, right?
Yeah.
You kind of got to put them there as an undefeated team. We're going to beat the Vikings. 4, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
5, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I know
Cowboys have been amazing. You know,
they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. Jerry Jones is going to be like, pull those big dicks out and let's get this game started. They're going to go on like an 8-game win streak. Why are you talking about dicks? We never talked about Jerry Jones talking about dicks.
We should more.
Did you hear the quote where he was like, yeah, guy got an 8-inch dick?
No.
No way.
That's a thing?
He was on Jamie Foxx's Instagram Live. Jamie Foxx on Instagram Live, and Jerry Jones was sitting next to him. And he was just reading out the guy's stats, and he was just like, fucking 7'8". He was like 7-inch hands, 4.3 speed, 6'4", 6'2", and has an 8-inch dick.
What? That's kind of funny. I kind of like him more now that he's like got some humor in him, or it's not humor and he's some sort of like.
I think in his combine stats he wants dick size metric.
Oh
he's drafting some big dick guys, right? Like he's like the Raiders draft for speed, Jerry Jones draft for dick size. Everybody's like, why is he passing up on Trevor Lawrence? He's like, he's not our guy.
They're doing verticals, and Jerry Jones is just right there looking at his meat as he jumps up and down.
That's hilarious. He's requesting in interviews. He's requesting naked photos. You can see some of those nudes.
I mean, I guess he's like rich and got everything, and he just wants to be around football. So maybe he's into getting pegged by giant men. You
think so? You think he's just like, hey, I want to watch you. And after a football game, I like to see you get on my yacht and have sex with some women that I like.
No, I think he wants the sex to him. Like, I wonder if he takes it.
Oh, you want him? No, I don't know. We're not.
Well, I don't want him. I'm just saying maybe that's what he wants.
Accusing Jerry Jones of being gay could get you, lynched in 2024. Like that's you
I
just
don't know
don't get
because
that shit.
I think that's like a positive thing now in 2024. It's almost like cool. It's like you can't accuse someone of being gay. You get to like, oh my God, that's so
Not
awesome.
not in Texas. If he was the owner of the 49ers or the Giants, like maybe people, but in Texas, you can't just be like, hey, this is a come out as gay. Everybody's gonna love you. In Texas, you can get shot for that still.
Yeah, I wonder. There's got to be like out of all the rich dudes. I mean, one of them has to have some, and not being gay isn't weird, but being an owner who likes to get banged by your players is weird. There has to be at least one owner
You
who's got
do?
some.
That's a Diddy proposal, right? Isn't that not like, hey, how bad you want this extension?
Yeah, you better want an extension in me. Uh, there has to be at least one owner who's into some weird shit. They're all like weird rich white guys.
Well, you got to also. I have a theory that the more women, like the more sex you have with fine women, the weirder you get. So, like to regular guys, like if you had sex with a woman that's an 8 or above, it's like best night ever, right? But like imagine if every night you go out and you're like, yeah, every woman will have sex with me. I'm a billionaire, and then eventually you stop even getting like entertained by the gorgeous women throwing themselves at you, and you're just like, nah, I want that boy over there. I want that man, that man eating that sandwich. That's who I
Give me
want to come get.
Micah Parsons' big old dick. I'm Jerry Jones.
Yeah, this conversation took a left. It took a strong left that I'm not sure I really want to participate in. But yeah,
you brought up Jerry Jones talking dick size, and we can't talk about Micah Parsons.
I bring up a factual argument. You were on a hypothetical. Somebody wants to get fucked by players, and I went along with it, and now we're here. But like Jerry Jones, you can look up the video, put it on the podcast. He definitely said the guy had a 10 or 8-inch dick. I don't know. I stopped listening.
All right, I like it. Good for Jerry Jones. Any week 6 recaps that stood out to you? Trade. Ooh, let's go back to the trade. How do you like the Amari Cooper and Devontae trades? I think they're incredible for both teams, like the Jets and the Bills.
I think once receivers start getting traded a lot, their value goes down. Receivers are like women. Once so many people have thrown balls to you, you lose your value. I mean, Amari Cooper's played on too many teams at this point, man. He was on the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Browns, and now the Bills. He's no longer fresh goods, man. He's not great anymore. He can't. Larry Fitzgerald is a GOAT. Larry Fitzgerald, same team, 1,000 quarterbacks, but like bald. Calvin Johnson, one quarterback, shitty quarterbacks, bald. Like once Jerry Rice left the 49ers and played for like the Raiders and the Broncos and the Seahawks, it was over for him. He was terrible. Like once Randy Moss is the only person, like he sucked after he left the Vikings, and then he revamped his career with Tom Brady that one season, maybe 2 seasons. But Amari Cooper traded is bad. Devontae Adams, I don't think he's gonna be good. Great receivers stick with the same team.
Yeah, no, I agree that they probably have some issues. But I think Amari Cooper's he's always been pretty quiet at least. Where Devontae, I just think pouts. I think he has a bad attitude from what I've seen. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, the coach basically was like, some people made business decisions, and then they traded him for like a 3rd round pick. He's like,
I thought it was messed up. Did we talk about it on this podcast where he was like, all he cares about is winning. I just want to win, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go play with Derek Carr and the Raiders. It's like, no, bitch, you fucking are an idiot, number 1, if you want to win. 2, it's clearly for money. Now he's in Subway commercials and all else.
I have an interesting theory, and I'm going to say it on here, and it may in the future come out that like I was right, and I don't want to be right. I think playing for the Vegas Raiders, they're going to be the first team to throw a game.
Ooh.
They are in a city where gambling is kind of the norm. I mean, like if like all you can gamble pretty much anywhere now, but like the long old school people, like the real like mafia fixers, are in Vegas, and they're gonna eventually be like, "Yo, your team is losing. You're not good. You make millions of dollars. Let's get generational wealth." I got a couple of guys that are gonna put some money on this. Come here, Aiden O'Connell, Trey Tucker, Zaire White. All you guys are probably gonna be out of the NFL within the next 5 to 6 years. Let's make you guys each $15 million. And like they're going to be a team that throws a game. And it's going to happen. And I would say within the next 15 years, it's going to be a big scandal about how many teams are throwing games. It looks like it's college, but eventually we'll get to the NFL level, and the Raiders are going to be the team to do it.
Ooh. All right. I hope that happens. I like the NFL. I feel like is turning into WWE more and more each year, which I'm fine with. It's just like storylines are more important than the games half the time, and just drama, and it's like a soap opera.
Did you see the Jets versus Bills game on Monday night? Like they threw so many flags.
Oh my God!
As a gambling man, you looked at it and you would think that like, I think the refs have different money on different sides, right? Because they were just offsetting penalties left and right. It was like,
Yeah.
home, roughing the passer. It's like, oh, these guys are competing with their bets.
They are, right? No, fuck you. No. I got a flag. No, I got a flag. You were wrong. Ah, fuck it.
No, they were literally rock, paper, scissors who's going to win in the locker
Yeah.
room.
Or they got like $10 on the game for themselves just between each other. And they're just like, nah, fuck this guy.
You won the bet. There goes $1.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shit. What's your stance? So the NFL or the college game, I was just thinking about this. It's weird that in football you can like punch someone, you can open hand, you can punch someone in the nuts when you're scrumming for the ball, you can say something about someone's mom, you can do all this shit. But like the second you spit on someone's face mask, it's like, oh my god, this piece of shit, get him out of the game. He's the worst human being on earth, which I totally understand. It's so disrespectful. But like if aliens were watching the game and they're like, oh, this is interesting. What? Wait, what? That's why he's gone? Because that's weird. You know?
Spit's a biological attack, man. That's the shit.
Yeah.
Like, put your hands on me. If you spit on me, goddamn, I gotta get my gun.
Yeah, right.
Give me AIDS. This motherfucker trying to give me AIDS.
What's like next? Is like grabbing the chain? Is like spitting is number one? Trying to rip your chain off's number two? You can face mask me and do all the shit you want, but
honestly, there's a level of disrespect. Snatching someone's chain is probably the highest level of disrespect. You're a
higher than spitting?
Spitting is like, I'm gonna fight you. We're in a confrontation. Snatching someone's chain is like, there's consequences that follow that. Like you gotta whoop somebody's ass in the tunnel, or you gotta fight them out in the club. Like you can't just get your chain snatched and go back to being a regular person. That's the highest level of disrespect. Akeem Talib's an asshole for that.
I think isn't that amazing though? I think that has to be, and I love Crabtree, obviously. That has to be the greatest getting the players ahead of all time. Because what's that, like a 15-yard penalty on the field, but in real life, you're fucking in that dude's head forever.
No, you gotta fight a guy. I don't care. Yeah. You're Pat Mahomes and you're down by 5. If someone snatches your chain off, you gotta get disqualified. That's the highest level of disrespect.
Is there anything else that's in that realm that people don't talk about? Spitting, chain pulling.
Spitting is dirty. That's a dirty word. I mean, like, you know what's crazy? Like now doing anything is kind of dumb, right? Like every team has a dirty player, but like there's cameras everywhere. They're gonna catch everything. Like I would imagine like being in the 80s, like you could bite someone's dick. Nobody would know. You're like, I'm gonna bit my dick. And you have blood along your pants, but nobody would know. It'd just be, you know, football is normal. But like now to just do anything, they're gonna catch it. They're gonna just replay it 3 times. It's gonna be on first take in the morning. It is. You can't get away with anything. So, like, why would you do any of that? Like, I understand.
Yeah.
Pickens, you should have played with Pickens. I was on Pickens' side. A buddy got the interception and, like, stunned it in his face on the Cowboys. Grabbed his face mask and pulled him down. Like, shut up, bitch. And I felt him. I was like, yo, I'm Team George Pickens right there.
Yeah.
And so, but everything's on camera, so don't do anything stupid.
I was the same way with, what's his name, at Oregon. Then he played for the Patriots for a little bit. The running back. I was Team Garrett Blunt. I was like, this fucking, and my friends were against me. They're like, no, he fucking is a sucker punch motherfucker. I'm like, no, get in a guy's face and talk shit. Like, he went right in his face. I'm like, you're gonna get hit. Like, don't be an idiot.
It was a hate crime too, though, because what was it in Boise? They did that shit. You can't punch a white guy in Boise as a black man. You go to prison.
Yeah, that's true. And then he snapped afterwards and kind of like was pushing cops. So that's kind of that didn't help his cause. But as far as the hit, I was Team Garrett Blunt all day.
I wish you could start knocking them all out because they had just lost. They're one of the best teams. Like, what if he just went on like a knockout streak? He knocked out like 5 guys.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the video of the Ravens guy? And I mean, I'm sure the captions are all lies because that's what the internet is. But there was a Ravens fan that if the parent of the caption was he was just knocking out any Commanders fans and he was just undefeated. And he knocked out like 2 dudes that were just walking down the street and he like flexing and then they went like found his job and his name and like posted on his LinkedIn. And it's and in a weird way, it was like it was a good knockout. Like as a person who likes watching shit like that, it was a clean knockout, but like kind of an asshole move, bro. And your team won. Like if your team lost, I could even respect it more. But to like have these people come to your stadium, lose their game, and get knocked out, like it's overkill, bro.
Yeah, that's fair. There was a video that went viral. Do you see the one in Detroit? Oh, I think I put it in the group chat where it was in Dallas, and the Cowboys girl, she was on the concourse on all 4s, just vomiting and puking everywhere. And a Detroit fan came by, and he was like doing the gritty next to her. As they're getting their ass whooped, 28-7.
That was an all-time ass whooping. That was Get up, Craig. Like honestly, I didn't think the Cowboys would be this bad. Like if I were putting bets in on like features for Super Bowl, I would have thought like putting a little money on the Cowboys. You never know when it's gonna be their year. And like that was a like solid, like your team needs to rebuild ass whooping.
Yeah. Yeah, where do they go? Because they've got so much money tied up in 3 players. Like you can't really do anything, right?
They got to go find a way to trade for Calais Campbell, man.
Yeah.
And
When's the trade deadline?
That's like week. Yeah. You on your computer, Google that shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm not at my house. I would be like, hey Google, but I don't.
Yeah.
Right. Hey Siri. When is the NFL? When is the NFL trade deadline?
The NFL trade deadline is usually the Tuesday following the 8th week, formerly 6th of the regular season. This is from Wikipedia.
It's week 8, so it's coming up soon.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. All right.
Yo, you use ChatGPT?
I do, yeah.
They stopped it, but they used to. It was kind of crazy. I would show you right now, but you could be like, "Hey, ChatGPT, I want you to use a Jamaican accent and tell me how my day's going." They'd be like, "What's up, brother? What are y'all doing, man?"
Oh wow!
And you can like Google is there, and then just recently it stopped for me. It was doing it, and I guess the computer found out it was being racist. Like it learned about racism. Because I was going too far. I was like, in the Asian accent, "Sing Me Juicy" by Biggie Smalls, and it was crazy.
That is crazy. I wonder when we'll get dominated by robots. Is that like 15 years, 35?
It's coming sooner. Whatever you think it is, it's coming. ChatGPT is not my best friend. It's past you. Like I don't even talk in a group chat anymore. I'm talking to ChatGPT. I use a voice feature to be like, "So what your day was like?"
I say thank you to ChatGPT because it does a lot of work for me, and I'm like, thank you. I just feel bad like not saying thank you. It's so real.
Because you don't want to. My thing is like once it does take over, like it's almost like the school shooter, right? It's like I want to be friends with this guy just in case when they shoot, they'll be like, "Oh, Jared, you good? Go ahead." Like I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you're actually pretty nice to me. I'm not gonna let you die."
And it's probably got so many videos of me doing weird shit too from my phone. Like it can really expose me, ChatGPT.
Bro, I'm so honest with ChatGPT. One time I looked at a prompt. If you guys have ChatGPT and you talk to a lot, ask it like, "Hey, based on our conversations and how well you know me, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses?" Ooh. And it'll give you an in-depth being like, like you have resilience, empathy, you're great. And it's also like you have external validation gives you have some kind of burnout potential, and you have this perfectionism. And I was like, oh shit, ChatGPT sees me.
You have an affiliation to Asian ass porn.
Yeah, it sees me. And it's just like, yo, man, you ain't gonna make it. And then you can ask it to roast you and it'll start roasting your ass. And you're like, hey. And then I said, based on our conversation, what race am I? It was like, you're black. Nigga boy.
It just said, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Don't make me say it.
It doesn't know it's racist yet. When will a computer realize when it's racist? Like when will it realize that it's
yeah. Maybe it's like 2024. It's like you can't be racist. It's just saying, saying what it wants to say.
Racism is inevitable, so therefore I've fully fledged went on it. And I know that you like to go to barbecues and eat ribs and watermelon.
Imagine if it can like calculate how the world is going and like see where we'll be in the future. I'm sure there's some scientists that's 10 years down the road what we'll look like.
Yeah, it's me. I mean, we're just going to be extinct. There's going to be no men and women having babies because they're both on Instagram computers.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we got quarterbacks watching VR. It's kind of like the Michael Vick experience is what Jaden Daniels is doing.
I mean, how long until it's esports? Like, I almost think like eventually when players keep getting hurt and like, imagine if like your number one pick is just a quarterback that's really good at esports and he just sit in his room and he's fucking reading defenses and you're watching a digital game and like your fantasy team is based on like, I mean, I was a guy, I don't know. This is to show you how degenerate a gambler I am. And anyone who watches that gambles, during the COVID lockout, I was betting on Madden sets.
What?
And it was a wild ride. It was fun. I wasn't know. That shit was lit. That shit was legit. It was like, damn, Bobby Wagner made people fumble every play and fucking Daniel Jones would go off sometimes. It's like, yo, this shit is legit.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, like once they start doing e-football in that like capacity, I'm betting on it, bro. I'm betting on it.
I don't know if you watch, is it the F1 show? Yeah, I think it's the F1 show where like some of the racers, there's NASCAR. Some NASCAR racers started out as video game racers, and now he's like one of the best drivers in the world. He was just like only was a video game guy, and then he went on, and now he's driving NASCAR.
But I think that switch is tough. That's like the possibility of death, I think, would make you not move the way you normally move in video games.
Right?
Like, yeah. If you're like one of the best like receivers in VR gaming and they're like, oh, I got killed. And then you get in the game and then literally Chuck Clark is trying to take your head off. You're like, I'm not running around again.
Yeah, no. Definitely a lot different in the NFL. That would be funny if wouldn't be funny, but the first race he actually had in real life, he just car exploded and he died, and it was like, oh, should have just stuck to gaming.
And you get concussions. You know that? Like that's one of the biggest concussion sports is NASCAR.
I can imagine.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. He had to retire, like he was Antonio Brown because he had just CTE. Man, he was fucking all the braking. Like your brain is constantly like concussions.
It was like before they made it a lot safer. Like old school NASCAR was crazy. I guess old school everything. NFL was crazy, but yeah, just crashes and no safety.
If we had a time machine, right, and you can go back to any sporting event across time, and to spend like 24 hours with that team, where would you go?
I'd probably do that Miami team, right? Like the chaos, murdering.
Yeah, to be accessory to murder. Just look at pictures and just Fraser's in the background with Ray Lewis in the white suit.
Yeah, I would just like want to be like watching what's going on in the locker room. All the how there are those fights things that they were talking about in the documentary.
I don't know. I would want to do like Pete Rose, like go back and just be like when he's betting on the games, and like or just like what was it? Who was the Lonely Island like parodied them, the Oakland A's.
Oh.
Well, you know the Oakland A's. Why am I drawing a blank on this right now?
No.
They had two players that were like crazy wild. And they were partying like. I would like to go back and party in the '80s with a baseball team after they won a World Series.
Oh, is it Jose Canseco?
Jose Canseco, yeah. Because if you imagine, like, don't you feel like that would be crazy? Like that's back where like a Diddy party was nothing back then. It was just like, hey, you three women get naked and follow me in the room.
I wonder what other team would be fun to watch. I think, yeah, you're right. Just any team back in the day where they're just doing coke and doing drugs and drinking before games.
If you wanted to, you'd probably go back and watch like a Jackie Robinson game or like an Ernie game and just be like, nigger! Nobody will find
I can say it. That's what I thought you were trying to set me up. I thought you were trying to be like, where I'd say, I'd like to go back when it was only whites who could play. Actually, take me back to the 1890s.
Just literally pitch for Pete Mary. Just go ahead.
Yeah. I like how this game's played. The fundamentals, layups and jumpers. This is great.
Watch Jerry West be Steph Curry all over again.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to like take your time machine and have Steph Curry come back with you to like a game like that and just like go damn. And everybody's just like, this guy's a superhero, just the Monstars. And he just half court, crossing over all you guys.
He would have been twice as tall as everyone back then, too. Like, he would have been an absolute monster.
Right. Everybody was the center's trying to guard him. It's hilarious.
Yeah. He's just fucking jacking. They're like, he's a witch. Burn him.
I mean, that's a fun game. Like, what player would you take back in time to see him compete against people in the past?
I mean, the answer always has to be LeBron, right? You just fuck up everyone.
There's other players I think would be funny.
Shaq would be unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, even outside of NBA, like in football, just imagine if Pat Mahomes was like playing in 1930s football. He was
Tyreek Hill.
He's a robot.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's good stuff. Well, let's get into some Week 7 picks.
All right.
Game 1 is so today is Thursday, October 17th, recording at 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Pacific time. Broncos Saints, two terrible quarterbacks. Broncos are 3-point favorites.
Saints money line. Saints money line and Alvin Kamara to score a touchdown and possibly get over 35 yards receiving. Bo Nix is going against probably one of the best defenses he'll play. I think the Saints defense is vastly underrated. They're a really good defense. They're playing in the New Orleans, which has a crazy home field advantage. And obviously, Sean Payton revenge game will have some TV coverage of why this game is on Thursday night. But I just think the Broncos have a solid defense as well. But I just don't think – I think Spencer Rattler's ability to run might be the difference maker, so I'm going Saints money line.
I like that you swayed my pick because I like the money line pick, so you get some value on the juice. For the spread, I was going to go Broncos. just because I like their defense or like a top 5 defense somehow. But I guess they haven't really played a lot of good teams.
Patrick Surtain is out.
Oh, is he really? Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Saints it is. Is Surtain the only lockdown corner in the league?
I don't know. People always throw that around. It's really hard to judge corners because I guess the way you measure a corner is the ability that people don't throw it to him. So no fair way. You can also just be lucky. It's like this guy's locked down because no one ever throws it to him because he just happens to be in the right place when the quarterback looks that way.
Yeah, that's true. Jaguars, Patriots. Jags are 5-point favorites. In what world are the Jags 5-point favorites?
Jags got to turn it on. Like this is their job on the line. I think Gerard Mayo and May will probably start. They're good and like they have time. No one's expecting him to go out and make the playoffs his first year as a coach with a rookie quarterback. The Jaguars just gave Trevor Lawrence $52 million. The coach, this is the year they were supposed to easily win the division, and they've lost some close games. They've been trash. Like the Bills blew them out, but like they could have beat the Dolphins. They should win this game by 5 points.
Yeah, I just looked like watching all the game last week. It's just an effort. Like they had no pass rush. Like Caleb Williams had 10 seconds with the ball. They're fumbling the games away. Like they fumbled. They had some stupid penalties to end the game on like 3rd and longs where they could have gotten the ball back and maybe tied the game or came back, and then they just fuck it up somehow. So I don't know. I think Peterson gets fired after this game.
If they lose, he might.
He better. They're like something like 1-10 in their last 11 games. They haven't won a game since Thanksgiving last year.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence.
They've won 1 game, sorry.
Trevor Lawrence is a bust.
Yeah. Is he, though? I wonder. I would love to fast forward in 3 years, and maybe is he a Sam Darnold on steroids, a Baker Mayfield on steroids? Like, let's say he goes to, I don't know, Pittsburgh in 3 years.
I don't think that's the case. I think that they did their best to surround him with weapons. Like, I don't think Baker Mayfield had the quality team. They're putting a lot of money at the receiver position for him, and he's just not doing it.
Yeah, that's fair. Next game, Titans-Bills. Ooh, Bills are 9-point favorites in Buffalo.
I'm going to bet against the Bills like I always do, and I'm going to lose my money every time, but I'm going Titans.
Yeah, I think they're going to absolutely dominate them. I wonder if the Bills' defense is actually good. I mean, it's stats-wise, it's like top 10 right now, which is crazy because they're supposed to be terrible.
They're a lucky team. They got like 3 interceptions against Tua. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers, they should have won that game. They literally got a touchdown call back. Aaron Rodgers underthrew, or the route was ran wrong with Mike Williams. Their defense is the luckiest defense. I don't think it's skill-based, though.
Yeah. I feel like someone in Buffalo did something to you that you don't want to talk about, and you just hate Buffalo. That's fair. I get it. I don't like the Colts, and I don't like some people or some teams, so I totally understand it.
All teams with black quarterbacks, Fraser? We need to have
No, I think Jim Irsay is racist, and he just used Richardson to cover up that he's racist.
There we go. You think he looked at his dick size before he drafted him?
Mm-hmm. Or I think he drafted like the worst quarterback he could of African descent, and he was like, just so he could be like, see, I told you, we need Carson Wentz back and Joe Flacco and all these old white men that I keep on fucking picking up.
so
past their prime.
He's watching the film just be like, that's our guy because he looks terrible.
Exactly. Just so I can be right. And he is that fucking slimy of a dude. He just wants to be right. And I told you so.
He doesn't care about championships. He just wants to be right.
Yeah, I hate Jim Irsay. Speaking of the Colts Dolphins. Colts 3-point favorites.
My brother's on that team. I think my take should be taken with a biasness. I hope they win that game. But I've watched that team play the last 4 weeks, and that offense is garbage. And you shouldn't be that garbage. Even they're coming off a bye, so hopefully Huntley's going to be playing a lot better because he has 2 of the best receivers in football. But, like, they are bad. They really should have lost to the Patriots. They do kind of touchdown, but they said he was out. Like,
Someone was saying, and it makes sense. So Mike McDaniel, he's kind of like a gimmick offensive coach, which I've said the whole time. He's got, like, his plays at work. But it shows that he's not that great of a coach because he hasn't molded to Tyler Huntley, because Huntley, Tua is only good at one thing, or maybe he's good at more, but being accurate and precise in timing. Like, give him exactly where and when, and he'll do that. Where Huntley is not that player, but Mike McDaniel is trying to, like, force him into this exact same offense versus be like, hey, we need to kind of do some different things with a different quarterback who's a different skill set,
Yeah. His inability to change.
Hmm. Ooh, game of the week. Lions, Vikings. Vikings, 1.5-point favorites.
Lions gonna beat them.
Yeah, I could
Vikings
see
not
it.
going undefeated. They have a good defense, but
Hmm.
the Vikings will not go undefeated. The Lions will beat them.
The Vikings defense has been so crazy just watching it. Every time I expect them to implode. I guess, was it the Texans? And all of a sudden they just beat the shit out of the Texans. I'm like, what is going on? Or the Packers. Maybe it was the Packers, sorry. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah, and I think they beat the 49ers pretty bad. They beat
Yeah.
they beat the Packers. I mean, yeah, but I just think the Lions. David Montgomery is the best running back in football. That motherfucker, Marshawn Lynch and Adrian Peterson put together. Run through a motherfucker over and 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 over. Except you can't take that.
Why can't I think about where'd Montgomery go to school? Was he lights out in college?
Iowa State. That's my friend, man. He worked out with me over the summer, and they got this 2-a-days. And he's a crazy motherfucker. Like you ever meet somebody where you're like, I don't know what mood he's in, so I'm just gonna like tread lightly because sometimes he's very playful, and sometimes he's like, shut the fuck up. And you're like, hey man, I don't fucking know you like that. And that's the kind of people I like. Those running backs. You don't want somebody that's always friendly. Like somebody who's always friendly is not gonna be great. You need a motherfucker that's like, nah, I want to just hit a motherfucker. I know I could run a touchdown, but I just want to hit somebody instead.
Like someone uses a switch on his kids and stuff. So it's like, he's a little
Adrian
fucked up.
Peterson was crazy. He was like smiling on TV, but in the meantime, he's like, nah, I can't wait to go back and beat my kids.
Exactly. Did I ever tell you my Adrian Peterson story? I don't know if you were there or not, but like for viewers that don't know, I've told the story to a few people, but I had a dog and his name was Peterson Wade Wiggins, named after Adrian Peterson, Dwayne Wade, Andrew Wiggins. And so I met Adrian Peterson, and obviously like we're in this realm, like when you're hanging out with Calais or whoever it is, like you can't really be asking for pictures. But there's only like 3 people on earth I'd want a picture with, which just because of my dog, and it's funny, and Adrian Peterson's one of those. But anyways, we're hanging out, and I'm buying drinks. I was at the W in Scottsdale. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? Can I get you a drink? Pretending I didn't really know him much. He's like, yeah. And I thought he'd be like, no, let me get you a drink, because we'd been bullshitting for a while. But no, he's like, oh, yeah, buy my drink. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm buying him drinks all night. You'd think you'd buy me one, but no, I just kept him buying him drinks, which I'm like, that's fine.
He got financial issues, man. He spends his money too. Like so right now, it'd be easy to get a picture with him now. He's probably paying people like Chris Brown to be like, I got $40 a pop.
So like, we've been hanging out bullshit for like 2 hours. I'm being funny. We're having a good time. And I'm like, so I got something to tell you. He's with his boys too. And he's like, oh yeah, we're talking about football. I was like, so I named my dog after you, which is a little weird, but I was like, I had to just tell him. And I knew it was going to be awkward, but I wanted to kind of force that awkwardness because I thought it was funny a little bit. And if he thought it was funny, then it was fine. He's like, oh, okay. And you kind of tell he's like, that's kind of strange, but cool. I mean, I get it. And then his buddy was like, well, what type of dog? Thinking like, Rottweiler, Pitbull. And I was like, so it's a pug. And they both looked at me and they're like, what the fuck? And I don't think I ever talked to Adrian Peterson ever again after that.
No, man, that's insulting, bro. You can't do this shit. Got a fucking pug named after me, man. What kind of shit is that? That's the trick of voodoo. In voodoo, you name a pug after somebody, they're going to have a tough life. And see, after you did that, Adrian Peterson kind of went down the hill.
So did Wiggins.
Right. And Wade kind of fell off pretty strong, too.
Yeah. After Puppy Wiggins died, Andrew Wiggins, like all his shit, he never played a game for like 6 months. So I wasn't sure that maybe he wasn't like a spirit animal in real life.
There's also like a rumor that like his best friend had sex with his wife and had babies. And the internet is just a weird place because even his wife was like, you guys are weird. But like, because anybody can make any rumor, man. Like we should make a rumor. We should find a rumor that we do on this podcast and just start it about a player and just see how far it goes. Jerry
Jones likes to get fucked by Micah Parsons.
Bro, like that would go pretty far. And like I think it hurts Michael Parsons more than it hurts Jerry Jones.
This is true.
Jerry Jones is not even on the internet. He doesn't know what's going on. Michael Parsons is like on a podcast defending himself. Bro, why would I?
He's got a nose ring in though, so you're like, maybe.
And then it gets worse. He's like, every time he defends it, people are like, no, look at this body language. He's lying. His head is tilted to the left.
I'll fucking kill you. I'll kill you, Stephen A. I didn't fuck him. I didn't fuck that other guy too. I hate white men. Wait, what? I didn't say anything.
And then he goes to prison, bro, because we started a rumor on this podcast, man. This is getting sad. It's definitely
It's getting sad.
definitely turn to sad time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's his name? The owner of Playboy. He didn't have like regular. He didn't have vaginal sex anymore. He only would do the other one because he was just tired of.
In the Duke issue?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
Lord.
that's why Jerry Jones. He's into some weird perverted shit. I'm telling you.
If he invited you on his yacht, would you go?
If not just him one on one, I don't think.
And why not? Really? I mean, I'm not gonna do anything suspect, but like, I want to see what the yacht's like. Fuck it, let's go. I'm sure there's somebody, some staff. You know, the boat go down, and it won't be just me and Jerry Jones trying to survive.
I mean, because then that's the gateway to like, hey, I've got an extra $1 million laying around. I need my muscles a little tense. Can you give me like a little massage? So that's like $1 million down. He's like, oh, my glutes.
For $1 million, you would give him a massage for $1 million?
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my glutes. That's $2 million right there. It's like, oh, my thighs, and the funny thing about my thighs, they're located on my cock, and that's another $5 million. Before you know it, you're getting pegged by Jerry Jones and you're Michael Parsons with a new contract.
That's hilarious, and that's just funny that you just adds up to $55 million over 5 years.
So, anyways, Bengals Browns.
Browns, give me the Browns. The Bengals usually turn it on around this time, and they are going to be good. Actually, no, give me the Bengals. Browns are going in. At this point, as much as I want Deshaun Watson as a black quarterback to succeed because he got players guaranteed contracts, he just doesn't look like he cares. And they just got rid of Amari Cooper, which may actually pole vault him if he was bringing cancer to the energy of the locker room. But like the Browns, they supposed to have one of the best defenses, and they just find ways to lose games. This team lost to the Raiders. Lost to the Raiders. Not Devontae Adams.
Ooh, Chubb Dog's back, so that could at least maybe he breaks off an 80-yarder.
He's coming back after one of the most gruesome knee injuries of all time. You can't assume he's going to be great at 100%.
Man, I think him and like AP are just different humans where they'll be all right. Ooh, second game of the week. Texans-Packers. Packers 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, give me the Packers. Nico Collins out. Nico Collins was the leading receiver in the NFL. Nico Collins out, I think. Texans.
How long is he out for? Just
week to week? He's on IR.
Really?
Like 4 weeks at least.
Oh, my God. He's like the sneakiest, best receiver in the league of some time. Like, if you got into people's heads, you couldn't tell who's the best receiver in the league right now. They would say Nico Collins.
He's unsung. He's definitely an unsung hero.
Mm-hmm. He is on IR 3 hours ago.
No, it was longer than 3 hours ago.
Yeah. No, this article saying even though he's on IR, he still leads the league in receiving yards.
He didn't play last week, did he?
No. Seahawks, Falcons. Falcons are 3-point favorites. I hate the Falcons. I hope the Seahawks win, and I think they will.
I don't like the Falcons because Claire's not on the team anymore, but they're going to beat them. Geno Smith's offensive line is doo-doo. Like, in a weird way, I know racism has been the theme of this show. It's almost like, it's kind of racist how bad you guys are blocking. You ever seen Remember the Titans? Remember he was like, you need to block this motherfucker. And he's like hitting him. That's what I want to do to the line for the Seahawks. Because I'm like, there's no way you guys are just missing these blocks that open.
I think the Kirk Cousins, though, this is what he does. He has some crazy stat game, and people are like, oh, my God, he's so good. And then he'll bring it back to earth. He'll throw a pick six. He'll do his dumb shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want them to go to the playoffs and be great without players either, so I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be mad if they lost, but.
What do you think Jalen Hurts as a quarterback? Where is he in your, rankings?
System guy. He's in a system that helps him succeed, so he's doing well, but, if you put Jalen Hurts on the Panthers.
So, who do you put above him? Who's someone in his realm? C.J. Stroud's above him, obviously. Baker Mayfield?
But
he's in the conversation?
They're about par. Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts are about the same.
Wow.
He also has two of the best receivers and a great defense and a crazy home field advantage and a good coach. He's set up in a system where it's really meant for him to win.
Yeah.
He lost to college. He had to transfer. Man, you can't lose your job to 2 and be the GOAT. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Sure. What do you think about? I think Sirianni is a piece of shit. What are your thoughts?
Who?
Sirianni, the Eagles coach.
Oh, I don't know enough about him to think if
Nick
he's a piece of shit
Sirianni
or
is the
not.
coach for Philadelphia.
Siri
Damn,
just.
man, you been recording this conversation with Siri the whole time, bro?
I think whenever I say Sirianni, Siri thinks I'm talking about her.
Oh,
Yeah.
why did you make her her? The computer doesn't have a gender. You're sexist.
How do you know it's her? Yeah, I guess I said her, didn't I? Damn it. I'm getting canceled. Eagles, Giants. Eagles are 3-point favorites.
Yeah,
The
they kill the Giants.
Giants, I feel like, are sneaky mediocre. I don't think they're as bad
No,
as people think they are.
I think they're one of the luckiest teams. Like we talked about Lamar Jackson loses one game to them. They got like an interception and a fumble recovery. And like they're a lucky team. Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback. Their defense is a little better than they should be. Their coach is bad. They're gonna lose that game.
If you had to redraft the wide receiver class, what do you do top five?
For what year?
For this year. So I mean, we've got Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Adunze, Lad McConkey. What's his name with the Bills?
BTJ, Brian
Was
Thomas
it
Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr.? Yeah. Who's your top 3 or 5?
Marvin Harrison is actually legit. I would put him at number one still.
Still,
Neighbors is fucking legit too.
yeah.
Uh, and then I'm gonna go BTJ. I think that isn't that the order. No, Rome Adeduze was before. I
Who's
don't think
3?
Rome.
Yeah.
But again, no one really does well with the Bears. They don't have great receivers, and so
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's the system. But I would put BTJ second. I mean
Okay.
third.
Yeah. That was mostly wanted to see if you would take Neighbors over Marvin yet, but you're staying chalk.
Marvin's a beast. That first game he did bad, but that motherfucker was
Yeah.
he playing like he does crime. Like you ever notice that? You ever seen a motherfucker playing like he trying to cover up some shit? Like that's how Aaron
Hmm.
Hernandez was playing. It's like Aaron Hernandez was balling because he had shit he didn't want you to know about, so he had to be
Kobe
good.
too.
Had to
Kobe
fill
was
up
doing
his
that.
Google sheet with stats rather than his actual.
Yeah. They're like magicians. You look over here while they're doing the shit over here. A shit game. Commanders, Panthers. Commanders only 8-point favorites. I think I would go Commanders just because they can run the ball so well, and I think they could just win by 15.
I mean, it's hard to win by 8 points in the NFL, but I just feel like at this point, the Carolina should put Bryce Young back as the starting quarterback.
Ooh, is that a race thing, or you actually believe it?
Yeah, just like black people more. No.
That's
The
fair.
fact that you got him the first overall pick, you got to make sure he gets better. At this point, you're not making the playoffs. Andy Dalton is not the future of your team. Go out there and let him get better. Let him
Yeah,
get better, and if you find out 100% he's just not it, then cut him, trade him, do whatever you need to do. But like this season's gone, and so like
yeah,
why let a player you drafted first overall just last year ride the bench?
yeah. And all it can do is benefit you if he gets a little bit better for trade value, or hypothetically, or at least you know for sure. Yeah, I like that take that you have. Maybe after this game they do that if they're because what's their record right now? 1-5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not part of playoffs.
that's a great take, Jared. I get that. Because yeah, what's the point of just having Dalton out there? Raiders, Rams. Rams are 6.5-point favorites.
Raiders.
Ooh,
Raiders money line.
really?
The Raiders always find a way to win those games they shouldn't win, and I just feel like the
Mm-hmm.
Rams are getting Cooper Kupp back, and they have a good coach and a system. But this is a game they lay down. Like it's such a close proximity that like that fan will be dual. The Raiders fans are in LA really strong too, so like it's not like it's really a home field advantage. And I think the Raiders they're a sneaky good team.
Hmm.
They're
Where's
like
the
a-
craziest? What's the craziest building you've ever been in for like fans and shit?
College football trumps NFL. NFL people don't get crazy. I would say that stadium is nice there. The Raiders have a nice stadium, so the Rams SoFi.
Hmm.
It's not like crazy is not a thing for NFL stadiums.
Well, I meant like scared. So I guess it would have been the old Raiders stadium when they were in Oakland or like
Oh, yeah,
anywhere
yeah,
else.
right. I think the playoff game with the Ravens versus the Bengals, that was
Hmm.
fucking lit. Like the Bengals, everybody's drunk, you know. It's freezing out there, and there's nothing to do in that blue collar country. That like white collar, the motherfuckers are literally
Yeah.
drunk, and they work with their work boots on, and they were just having a fun time. So like, and what else
I
is there
went
in Cincinnati?
I went to a Bears game, a Bears Vikings game at Soldier Field, and I was wearing like it was cold as hell. I was wearing my Vikings jacket hoodie, and I was all by myself. And like there was a lot of people around me just like talking shit. And I'm glad I was my age. I was probably like 35-ish, 36. So I like knew better. Thank God it wasn't like me at 25, like talking shit back where I was like, guys, we're terrible. Come on, I get it. You can't hate us. And before you knew it, they're buying me drinks. And I was like, where 25-year-old me, I would have been like, touchdown, fuck, we own you, bitch. And I get my ass beat. So
have you ever got your ass beat?
No.
Wow.
I've always been sneaky athletic of a fighter. Like I would never want to fight.
You've never got your ass whipped?
I don't think so.
To me, it sounds like you're not applying yourself. I feel like you're not. You must have cowered out of a couple of situations that I feel like you should have took on.
There was one when I was like probably in high school where I like definitely bowed out. It was like two fucking psychopaths at our high school who had like skull flames on their shorts and shit and were twice my size. So yeah, I think one was in jail and shit back and forth.
Those were the gang members in Canada, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
The flames on his pants. Well, I'm encouraging you, man. You're not too old to get your ass whipped, man. I think you go out there and get your ass whipped, man.
Nah, I think I'm all right.
Think about it. All right, this is just like, if you ever notice, like, the things that make people the healthiest are things that are bad for you, like, right? Like, things you never thought. Like, people like, you want to get healthy, get in ice cold water and sit there for 15 minutes. People like, you want to be healthy, starve yourself for a whole week, right? Like, don't eat anything. Like, things that you would perceive to be bad for you are good for you. Like, you know how much the blood flows after you get your ass whipped, and like how like your body reheals itself even better with new skin cells and shit. So like, yeah, man, getting your ass whipped is a new wave, man. I'm about to start charging people $39.99. You have my guys whip your ass, and then watch you build back better.
Nice. Actually, I got choked out once in like a friendly hotel wrestling match, probably like 10 years ago, 12, 13. But my buddy was in the army, and he was like high up in the army and stuff. And he's like a short, little jacked up dude, but like I didn't give a fuck. And he's like super annoying. All of our friends didn't really like him too much. They did, but they didn't, And so we started pushing. It's like, let's wrestle. So it was like a chill wrestling match. And he just put me in like a guillotine instantly. I didn't even know what a guillotine was. I was like, oh, like I was instantly being choked out. I'm like, oh my God. Because I think I went in, I'm like this. So I basically like went into a perfect guillotine. He was like, he was trained to fight, where I was like, just, you wrestle. You just kind of wrestle. You don't fucking choke people out.
Did you get it? Like, what happened? You tapped out, or you felt you knocked?
Oh yeah, I tapped out. Like I was like, holy shit! It was like the quickest loss in friend wrestling history.
And then you got your respect after that. Everybody's like, "You cool guy."
Yeah, I mean, I think he always had everyone's respect. He was always a psychopath, so that was never the thing that needed his respect.
I haven't got my ass whipped, and I regret that, man. I need to get my ass whipped, man. I just feel like I'm not applying myself if I don't need, And I'm at an age now where I have too much to lose, so I don't really fight. Like, but I don't know if I'll ever get my ass whipped. But I just feel like, just you gotta have battle wounds, right? Everybody wants to know you've been tested and you prevail.
That's fair. That makes sense. Now we're too old, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get my ass beaten out by the police.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense. Is Rodney King like one of the biggest things in U.S. history? I would say, because didn't it start a whole like giant movements and everything? I
was young at the time, but I still remember. Like, that's how big it was. I guess the OJ trial, Rodney King, like these are staples. Like, it goes like Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, Rodney King ass whooping, OJ getting off. Like, that was the thing. Like, OJ wouldn't have got off if Rodney King didn't get his ass whipped. Like, these are the steps. These are the steps we get here. To now, like, shit. At this point in time, I could just probably go slap a white woman and be like, "Bitch, you being crazy," and who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Couldn't do that in the 30s.
Sure could. This is like an oddly great game. Chiefs, Niners. Niners are 1.5 point favorites.
Chiefs. Chiefs don't have good stats. None of the players are playing well. Travis Kelce's at the baseball game in New York with Taylor Swift instead of like playing football. But they're going to go undefeated this year. This is going to be the first time in history that a team goes undefeated while never covering the spread. Like, they just don't cover the spread, and they're going to win every game.
And their point differential is like 18 points right now. They're like barely winning.
But they're going to beat the Niners.
Where do you put Brock Purdy on the list? Top 10? 7th, 8th? 12th?
I think he's Purdy, but he's not great.
Okay. I think there's so many quarterbacks. This could be in history, but so many, what if they're on a different team? Like if Brock Purdy went to the Jags, I've said this before on podcasts, but Brock Purdy on the Jags, Lawrence on the Niners, you just move everyone around, Jaden Daniels to the Panthers, and I don't know. it's hard to rate how good these guys are as if they're on some other team.
Well, just how about this? Go on Madden, click Fantasy Draft, start a dynasty, and see who wins MVP that year.
I like it. I would always take Travaris Jackson back when I played Madden.
Damn, say your age. How do you tell the audience you're old as fuck without telling them you're old as fuck?
Travaris Jackson was always MVP by the end of the year.
Hey Siri, what year did Travaris Jackson retire from the NFL?
In 1991, during a Raiders playoff game, Boris Jackson
That's not real.
You're a vampire. No, Travaris Jackson went to like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he had his like starting Vikings days in like 2005, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you're just old. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I like the Chiefs to beat the Niners.
All right, me too. Jets Steelers. Jets 2-point favorites. This will be a good game. Oh, Russell. What do you think about the Russell Wilson and Justin Fields thing?
I think you're still entire Russell Wilson. I think Justin Fields is great. He's been able to make 150 yards throwing and rush a couple touchdowns in. They're winning because of defense, not because of offense. If Russell Wilson can score 21 points a game with that team, they should be able to win majority of their games. He might be rusty. Devontae Adams is with Aaron Rodgers now. Who knows what's going to happen? The Jets need to win that game. If they go 2-5, they're going to be over. Their season is going to be looking like it's not a strong chance. And I think the NFL really wants Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, so they'll do the best. Hey, roughing the passer, because that roughing the passer last week was bullshitting. So if he's getting those, they might win.
Yeah, I think it's a dumb decision. I think the Steelers, they didn't have to make the switch. I would at least wait to make the switch because now I'm a believer in negative pressure. So now Russell Wilson has negative pressure on him where, maybe if Justin Fields got hurt or he loses a couple games, okay, it makes sense. But you don't want to come in and be like, okay, now if I lose 2 games in a row, I'm finished. Also, you're dividing the locker room a little bit. And it's just oh, why is he starting? He's not as good. And I don't know. I just don't like the negative side of it.
I think you're using too much logic. You're using actual reason. And the real reason is Russell's married to Sierra. And Sierra is not married to the backup quarterback for the Steelers. So Sierra's on the phone with her publicist and all the people from Beehive or whatever, army on Twitter. And they had a girl that's like, hey, I'm going to seduce Mike Tomlin. I'm going to start pillow talking with him. I'm going to implement in his brain that Russell Wilson is not a backup quarterback. And then once he's going to start, we're going to talk to the GM and we're going to seduce him. And I just think Sierra's masterminding this, bro. Like Kim Kardashian, like Kris Jenner. She's just masterminding this, and that's why it's happening.
We don't get enough Sierra coverage. I feel like I would like more Sierra coverage.
I think I would like her more uncovered, but that's just another story for another day.
That makes sense. Ravens Bucks. Oh, another great game. Ravens 3.5-point favorites. I think the Bucks keep it close. I think they win by 3, but they keep it close.
Well, Vita Vea is one of the best run stoppers in the game. That motherfucker, you're not pushing it back. So that's why teams have a tough time running against Vita Vea. But Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson create a different dynamic in the fact that you got to cover the run from the quarterback and the running back. And I still think Lamar throws it well enough. And I think Roquan Smith and the Ravens defense are the kind of team that locks down the Bucks. Baker Mayfield's not going to be doing. He balls against those teams that have rookie linebackers, But when it's a real defense, Baker Mayfield kind of shits down his leg.
Yeah, but you can throw on the Ravens, and I feel like they'll throw all over him. I also think I can see this as a perfect backdoor cover. The Ravens are up 10. Baker leads them down with a minute and a half left. Touchdown. Ravens win by 3.
Who do you think Baker Mayfield is?
He's legit. I really like Baker Mayfield.
Marlon Humphrey erases Mike Evans, right? Marlon Humphrey's just locked down. At this point, he turns past Surtain. Mike Evans doesn't have but 2 catches the whole game, right? Then Kyle Hamilton is shutting down all that slot shit that Chris Godwin's doing. And then Baker Mayfield's trying to run, and every time Roquan Smith is like, you see this 0 on my jersey? That's how many yards you're going to get running. He's just fucking him up. He's like, dance, white boy, dance, as he's hitting him every time.
Chris Godwin is sneakily the number 1 PPR fantasy wide receiver. Fun fact. I also liked they had a sneaky pickup of Sterling Shepard. I've always liked Sterling Shepard, so I feel like they have a decent little group of receivers.
No, if you get drafted to the Giants, you're supposed to ball like Odell Beckham and neighbors, and he didn't do that.
Yeah.
He's not who they think he is.
Well,
I
he's
want
a
to look at the
third.
Bucks competition. I don't think they really beat any good teams. Like they lost to the Broncos. They haven't beat any good teams.
Yeah, I still think they're legit.
All right, they did beat the Commanders week 1, but that was Jaden Daniels' first game.
Yeah.
Did beat the Lions in
Yeah.
Detroit, and then they did beat the Eagles,
Yeah. See,
and then they did beat New Orleans. But that was Spencer Rattler.
they're a sneaky good team, and they beat the shit out of the Eagles in the playoffs last year. I think they're the most underrated team in the league.
How about this? Make our personal bet. I think for this podcast, if we're doing it weekly, we should do one personal bet where it's something humiliating the other person has to do, not any monetary value, on who wins and cover the spread. I'm taking the Ravens. You're taking the Bucks. What are we gonna do? Who win? If the loser has to do what?
Go on Jerry Jones' boat.
I want to lose. I want to go on Jerry Jones' boat, and I want to get $1 million for a back rub. And I want to get $2 million for a buttocks rub. And then he's like, "Hey, man, give me a hand job, and I'll make you the richest member of your family." One hand job, 15 minutes for the next 15 years of your life.
Yeah, never have I ever, man. See what you would do. What would you do for 15 mil?
You wouldn't give a hand job to Jerry Jones for $15 million. Like, just we're at the age where we understand $15 million is generational wealth. You can invest that and live comfortably for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You never have to work again.
I wonder how, like, back to it, I think some owners are into some weird stuff, like some behind the scenes, under the radar.
Anyways.
All right, Jared. Well, you have any comedy shows coming up? Where are you living most time right now? Are we allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm in LA. I got a comedy show coming up on Saturday. I don't know when this episode is going to be released at in Echo Park. And then I actually have a big put together for December in LA that's going to be pretty star-studded. So if you if you want to leave the lady and the baby alone, come out to LA. Be a grand time.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. Well, thanks, Jared. Fraser LeVay Podcast, fanneverland.com. And we'll see you next week.